Good afternoon. I apologize in advance because I have my voice that's been going in and out since February, so I hope it will last for the next 4 minutes. Okay, so liquid gold. My talk today is about liquid gold coffee, the impact of coffee on the environment. How many of you actually woke up this morning and had a cup of coffee? Just about, okay, everyone in the room. Right. Well, there are benefits for coffee, and that's a good thing. There's an agency called the National Coffee Drinking Trends that actually keeps track of our data use, and they said that 62% of people they're drinking coffee this year, which has leaped like from 57% as of last year. So what is coffee? Coffee is it's an international traded commodity. It's the second most valuable commodity. Oil is number one, but coffee is number two. Some of the interesting facts that we have. 125 million people are reliant on coffee for their livelihood. It's grown in 70 different countries. 2.25 billion cups are consumed a year. You have 25 million people that are actually needing this coffee bean in order to sustain their living. Again, I already told you about the 62% of people reach for a cup of coffee like yesterday and like today. 24% of coffee drinkers choose the espresso-based coffee, which is a leap. You have 39% of you that are younger are consuming gourmet coffee. You just don't want the regular, Folgers coffee. You want Starbucks. And 40% are daily consumers. Because we're so mobile, you got to have it to go. Okay, so the bean is actually in a belt. Well, this is a belt. The bean belt. This is where most of the beans are actually grown. You've got different flavors for different areas. Brazil has like slight spicy, nutty aroma. Ethiopia, I never heard of a rich blueberry aroma. I'm sure somebody knows what that means. So you have all of these different areas in the right, and they call it the tropics of the Cancer and the Capricorn area. And this is where the majority of the beans are produced. Now, societal problems. They are producing unfavorable labor practice with low wages, long hours, no benefits, and then you have children that actually are involved in this. Now, there's also some good for there. More than 25 million people are actually relying on this coffee, again, like I said, for their livelihood. So these are just pictures of people that are working in the fields. And you can see that the children are involved as well. Environmental issues and concerns. Some major environmental problems are pesticides, forestation, extinction of animals due to the habitat destruction. There's also warming temperatures, drought changing, and these different types of stressors are they're making the market more volatile. You have aging coffee trees because every year the tree has to produce the beans in order to create the coffee. They're declining, and a lot of people that are usually doing coffee, the next generation are looking for other means in order to make their living. Again, this coffee bean belt, this is just a slide that talks about some of the climate change that's going on. I wish it was a little bit bigger. The temperature are rising and changing. And what I found interesting is that just even the slightest change in any of the areas can create problems or wreak havoc on the taste of the coffee, how it's actually developed and that type of thing. Sustainability touches each part of the coffee chain. So it's a supply, supply and demand. You got to grow the thing. It's actually plant. It starts from a plant. You grow it. You have to produce it. You got to transport it from point A to point B. You have to warehouse it. You got to retail it. Put it in a bag in order for somebody to buy it. And then it even changes the consumer behavior. So, there are several ways that coffee can be sustainable, but one of the ones that I chose was to show you a little bit was the shade-grown coffee. This is an actual picture of what shade-grown looks like. It's actually good for the environment. What happens is that the tendency for growers in region that are using the shade growing is traditionally to, it's to actually help the habitat. It helps the birds. It creates the biodiversity. It's developing. It's healthy for the environment versus the sun farm. These are pictures of what the sun farm looks like. There's no shade for the trees. The sun is actually drying them out. So there are some areas that's the only way that they can do it. But what they're trying to do is be able to create more of the shade grown because it's better for the environment. This is actually a picture here in Puerto Rico. In 2001, this is what happened before. It was a transition from the shade-grown coffee crops. And so this is what it looked like before. The picture to the right in 2006, 5 years later, this is what it looked like. So there was an increase. You can see that it looks much better because of the farming practices that they have implemented. These are just snapshots. 350 million is invested in the coffee sector every year. If you do not have strong action, they're expecting the coffee production to be slashed in half by the year 2015. 28% of coffee drinkers don't even know if the coffee is grown in a sustainable way. And women coffee farmers typically reinvest 90% of their income back into their family and the household. So, what can you do? This is a picture, and I actually went to visit it. This is a picture of the Zion Coffee Bar. It's downtown. It's a new establishment downtown. They are very, very keen and driven on sustainability. It's a cool place to go study. You have like all of these different flavors, and I just told her to just surprise me because I had no clue what to do. One of the other things that I can say is that this is what you want to do. You want to be able to support local communities that are actually doing sustainable practices. This slide here is just some of the certifications that you can look for when you're looking for your coffee. If it's been certified by the Rainforest, the UT, and I'm sorry, I did not get the acronym for that, but the UTZ is another farming entity. If it's organic, the fair trade, which is allowing individuals to pay the farmers directly versus, instead of like using big businesses, they're actually helping and sustaining the smaller farmers. And these are my references. So that's what I have for you. All I wanted to say is that, with 2.2 billion cups of coffee that we are drinking on a continuous basis, any small change that we make will be helpful. Thank you very much.